Her triumphs. I took a group of women that didn't believe in themselves, and I just believed in them. Her trials.
I never wanted to go to practice. I was losing a ton of weight.
Her story.
I just put my faith in God and just trusted the system.
Her why.
I want people to see what I did and say, oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to be better than that. That would be how I hope that this journey ends.
This is Her Why, where we tell the stories from BYU women's sports. Here is your host, Lauren McLean.
We're so glad you've joined us for Her Why, where we celebrate the women who make BYU sports great. Today's guest is hurdler for the BYU track and field team and BYUtv personality, Lindsey Middleton. What's up, Lindsey?
Hi, how are you?
How did that sound?
BYUtv
personality.
Yikes.
Well, you made some recent stops in Fort Worth, Texas with Garrett Allen from Studio C to shoot a segment for BYU Sports Nation Game Day to hype up the TCU game. That was some really good stuff. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, thank you. It was so fun. Garrett Allen is the funniest person I've ever met. He's so much fun. So it was a good time. So I was not there recently, but I kept getting texts, hey, are you in Texas right now? I'm like, I wish. No. But it was super fun. Awesome crew. I was only there for 2 days. We filmed for 2 days nonstop, basically. And it was so fun.
Was that the first time you've ever done something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, because TV's a whole new beast.
It is.
Did you have to get out of your comfort zone a little bit?
A little bit, but Garrett made it really easy. He is so fun to be with and so easy to be around. And something I love about Garrett is he doesn't have an on-off switch. He's just always like that. So when I met him when we were at the airport, it was just Garrett. And then they said, hey, we're rolling. And it was just Garrett, So he made it really, really easy to just hang out with him at TCU. So it was awesome.
How did that opportunity for you come about?
Dumb luck. Honestly, I don't know. Part of it was just that they wanted a female student athlete and it needed to be someone who wasn't in season. And I'm not in season right now. We're in our off season. So I was a little bit more flexible with my schedule. And they wanted someone who was willing to talk about the gospel, and because I was going to go and do that Bible study and talk to some of their students about Jesus, and I was recommended by some really nice people, I guess. So that's how I landed that. Really lucky. I feel really blessed that I was able to go.
You did such a good job. And let's talk about that Bible study a little bit, because that was such a cool thing to watch. It's TCU's Fellowship of Christian Athletes program.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of your takeaways after meeting with that group?
Yeah, it was really special. It was a really special feeling in that room. I have some, I would say, lifelong friends that I met there. A couple of them, one of them's on the track team, one's on the cross country team, and I still chat with them. After that game, they were like, hey, I was like, yeah.
You're like, oh.
But yeah, let's just not talk about the game, but we can talk about Jesus together. And I just felt like it was a special thing to be athletes all together, but followers of Christ as well. And I think it's an important thing to understand that you can be both, and it's important to be both and to be proud of that. That's something that they taught me at TCU that I really loved. It's not something to be afraid to share. Jesus is so important, and keep him in the sport and celebrate that together. It was awesome.
So dang cool. Did you ever think that your track career would lead you to be able to travel and to have influence on people like that? I mean, did you
not
ever
in that
think
way?
That?
Not in that way. Yeah.
So
for sure
cool.
not.
You're a junior on the track team right now. The season officially starts in a little over a month. How are you feeling about what's to come?
I'm excited. I'm feeling really good. I had hip surgery over 2 years ago, and I feel like I'm finally healthy and strong and able to do just about whatever I want to do. So I'm feeling really, really good. It's been a long time coming. Last season was a breakthrough for me in a lot of ways, and I have a lot of confidence going into this season, which is good. That's new for me. So we're feeling good.
Does that come from because you didn't feel like you were 100% because of your hip surgery?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
a lot of that. I was very timid. It was really scary to go and do things on my hip, especially running hurdles. My gosh, what am I thinking? Yeah. And so being strong enough and feeling stable enough, that's a ton of it, feeling stable enough to go and do something crazy like running hurdles. I finally feel like I'm in a place where I can do that with confidence, and it's been years since I've felt that way.
So what made you have to originally get hip surgery in the first place?
Oof, yeah, good question. I had an impingement. So it was a wear and tear kind of injury. So over time, as I hurdled, the bones rubbed down the labrum and it tore it. So I actually think I tore it before my mission.
Wow.
The angels held me together on my mission. I came home and I had hip surgery like 2 months after I got home from my mission.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Spiritual ligaments holding you together.
No, actually, that's so real.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When did you first start becoming interested in track and field as a little kid?
My mom ran here. My mom was
Okay.
a heptathlete here, and my dad also ran in high school. And I always loved running. So big time runner my whole life. I didn't start hurdling till my sophomore year in high school, and I fell in love immediately. I thought it was so awesome. So I've always loved running. I always felt like it was something I was good at, and we're really drawn to things we're good at, right? So running was something like that for me. And hurdles is very rhythmic, and it's really hard. It's very technically challenging, and I was really drawn to that. I liked that it was hard. So I always wanted to hurdle, and I finally started my sophomore year of high school, and the rest is history, as they say.
Did you play any other sports, or was it just running from the get-go?
Yeah, I played soccer all growing up.
Okay.
And I just am a lover of sports. I love volleyball. I played basketball growing up as well. Just about anything I would play. But soccer was, to this day, I think I still played soccer longer than I've run track.
Wow.
So big soccer girl, but other sports too. Big sports family. So just about anything. I love it.
You have 2 other siblings. Were you guys pretty competitive growing up?
Oh, I love them. Yes. Yes. We are each, my older sister's 3 years older than I am, and my younger brother's 3 years younger. So there's a pretty good spread there. My older sister, 3 years older, like that's a pretty substantial set of years.
Yeah.
Until a certain point, right? But all growing up, I just wanted to be her. That's still the case. I still just want to be her. And so anything she would do, I wanted to try too. So I don't know if it was necessarily competitiveness, but it was definitely me trying to keep up with her. And I think that was huge for me. And then a little brother, he'd say, let's go wrestle. Let's mess around. And my sister and I are like, hey, how about Barbies? What? And I think they were both really good for me. Little brother made me tough. Older sister made me work hard. Really good.
I love that. Well, something went right for you because in high school, you were a state champion and the Utah state record holder for the 100-meter hurdles, which you still hold that record for.
That's true.
What do you feel like pushed you to achieve that type of success in high school?
That's a really good question. I think a lot of the time people have this push to run in college. I need to run fast so I can run in college. And I never wanted to, if I'm being honest.
Wow.
That was never something I wanted. And I think a lot of that was because I grew up listening to my mom talking about her experiences. And it wasn't by any means me feeling like, oh, that was horrible. She hated that. She loved it. She loved running here. She loved her teammates. She loved her experience. But she was not afraid to tell me that it was really, really hard. And she had to sacrifice a lot. And so I wanted to run. I wanted to give hurdles a try, but that I didn't have the goal to run in college. That wasn't something that I wanted. But I am a perfectionist to maybe a fault. And I always want to do my best and push myself until I feel like I've given it my all. And so in high school, I just knew I could run faster. And I think that's really what pushed me. It wasn't trying to get a scholarship. It wasn't trying to run collegiately. It was really just actually running my fastest. And that state record was honestly a surprise. I didn't know that I did it until I crossed the line and one of the girls I ran against came up. She said, hey, you just broke the state record. Congrats. I had no idea. But I think it was just I have this drive to be my best and not give up until I've given it my all. And that's I'm really proud of her. I'm proud of younger Lindsey. I'm proud of high school Lindsey because she really, she ran pretty fast. She did a good job.
So cool. That's so interesting because you talked about how you want to work hard, you're a perfectionist, and yet you didn't really want to play at the next level. So at what point, I guess in your high school career, were you like, okay, I guess I'm pretty good at this and I can do the next level? When did your mind shift?
Yeah, I remember I had a conversation with my mom. And at this point in time, I was getting offers from different places. And the coach at the high school came to me and said, hey, Linz, we have these offers. And I said, I don't really care. Like, as nicely as I can put it, I don't want to hear from them. I don't want to do visits. I'm going to go to BYU. I'm not planning on running. Like, it's okay. You can just turn them down. And she looked at me like I was crazy. I think she even told me that. Lindsey, you're crazy. What are you thinking? And I went home and I was talking to my mom about it. And I'm super grateful that my mom never pushed me to do anything I didn't want to do. So when I walked in there and I said, look, Mom, I don't think this is something that I want. I don't think I want to do that. She never said, oh, you need to think about this again, or you're wrong, or you're going to change your mind. She just said, okay. But she sat me down and she said, Linz, how about you run as fast as you can and just don't count it out. Just don't count it out yet. I was like, okay, whatever. I won't count it out. I won't count it out. But yeah, I'll run as fast as I can. That I can agree to. And it wasn't until I ran that last race in high school and broke the state record that I got a call from my now coach, Kyle Grossharth. And he said, hey, there's a spot on the team and would love to have you if you'd like to run for BYU. And I remember I was sitting in my room, I was holding my phone, and I almost turned him down in that moment and just said, I'm okay. Thank you so much, though. Something stopped me. And I said, can I get back to you? There was a pause on the phone, and he says, I mean, yeah, but can you do it pretty soon? Can you make it fast? I said, yeah, I can make it fast. And that was really a good learning experience in my life because I did all of those things that we're told to do to get an answer, right? Go to the temple, read the scriptures, patriarchal blessing, pray about it, all the things. And the only answer I ever got was to serve a mission. You're going on a mission. And that was great. That was awesome. But I kind of felt like, Heavenly Father, I know that already. What about the track thing? What about the track thing?
Yeah.
And I sat down with my dad and we had this conversation about agency and how important agency is. And we have it for a reason. And my dad just said, Linz, this is your chance. God's giving you the opportunity. There's not a wrong answer. It's going to be good either way, but it's up to you. And so I literally made a pros and cons list. I did the thing. I made the list. I made the T-chart. And I just said, let's give it a go. People would kill for this. Let's do it. And I absolutely fell in love with it. So it really wasn't even until I came here and I started running here that I said, this is what I want to do. It never happened in high school, which is crazy.
Wow. So no regrets once you made that hard decision that was so hard for you to make.
Yeah, I love it. I fell in love, and I think that it was so important that God told me, you're going on a mission, because I fell in love. I didn't want to leave that first season, even though I redshirted, even though I tore a tendon in my foot. I knew I was going on a mission, but I fell in love with track. So going on my mission, I was going to come home and I was going to run and it was going to be awesome. So he knew what I needed. God knew what I needed to be able to be here still and run still and serve a mission the way I did. It's been perfect, but that doesn't mean it was easy.
So you grew up in Provo, Utah. You went to Timpview High School.
Yes.
Coming to BYU, was there ever a point where you're like, well, maybe I will entertain some of these other offers to get away from home? Or was it BYU all the way from the beginning?
BYU all the way.
Wow.
Yep. I applied to one school and it was this one.
I love it
so
much.
We're diehards in the Middleton family for sure.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk to Lindsey about what made her decide to serve a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints amidst her track and field career. This is Her Why. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean. We're continuing our conversation with BYU hurdler Lindsey Middleton. So after your freshman year at BYU, you decided that you're going to serve a mission for the church, which you'd already decided, it sounds like, back in high school, right?
Yeah.
That was something you were going to do. What led you to that decision to do it right then, after your freshman year?
Yeah, it had always been my plan to leave. My birthday's in February, so I had always planned to do a semester at BYU and then to leave on my mission. And probably a large part of that was because my sister did that. That was her timeline. And it worked very well for her. So I said, perfect, let's do that. And when I committed to the track team, I knew that I would end up doing a full year. But it was just always part of my plan. It was always part of my plan to serve a mission. And with that age change, I remember watching the general conference session when that was changed down to 19 years old for the women. And it just became my plan. That's what I was going to do. And even though I wanted to stay and I wanted to run, I wanted to do what I knew God needed me to do more. So leaving is always going to be hard, but it felt right. And it was awesome. It's the best decision, most important decision I've ever made was serving a mission.
It was always your number one priority.
Yeah.
When you found out you were called to serve in the Kentucky-Louisville mission speaking Karen, what?
Yeah.
What was your reaction when you read that?
Crazy. So I was actually called to Kentucky speaking English.
Okay.
Yeah. And when I got that call, I hate to say that I was disappointed, but that's the honest truth. Yeah. I was a little disappointed, and I think that that's something that you'll hear a lot from people who get called stateside or speaking English. there's nothing wrong with serving stateside. In fact, I think it's the best thing ever. But at the time, I kind of had this feeling like, did I do something wrong? Am I not good enough to serve outside of the United States? Like, what? Am I not smart enough to learn a language kind of thing? And my older sister served in Russia. She speaks fluent Russian. And my mom served in Honduras, and she speaks fluent Spanish. So I just felt like, why, what's wrong with me, right? Nothing's wrong with me. My dad served in Anchorage, Alaska, English speaking. Nothing's wrong with that. People say, do you still speak the language from your mission? He's like, oh, English when I'm cold? Yeah, I totally do. Like, it's so funny, right? There's nothing wrong with stateside missions, but I just felt like I wanted that. I wanted to go somewhere cool. I wanted to learn that language. And so I got called to Kentucky speaking English. And I was frustrated with myself because I was disappointed. And because I felt like, not that there was a mess up, but just like, is this for real?
Yeah.
Like, am I being pranked right now? But never at any point did I even consider not going. I knew I was going to, and I knew that there was something out there for me. I just didn't know what it was yet. So the first 6 months of my mission was English speaking, and I loved it. It was awesome. I was in the middle of nowhere in southern Kentucky. It's called Campbellsville. I love it there. Absolutely love it. And that's when I got the transfer call to serve with the refugees from Burma and Thailand. And when I got that call, the mission president actually said, hey, we want you to go and speak Burmese. And when I got out there and I met these refugees, I learned that they were not Burmese, they were Karen. And that was the language that needed to be learned there. So then I told the mission president, hey, I think it needs to be Karen, not Burmese. And he said, okay, here's your green light, go for it.
Oh my gosh.
It was awesome.
Okay. Whoa. Yeah. That's just insane.
Yeah. It
What was
awesome.
that? And I hear that's one of the hardest languages to learn, because aren't there like a lot of dialects and...
Yeah, yes, it's not on Google Translate, so that makes it hard. And the dialect that I speak is the largest one. So I speak Ska Karen. But there are different accents. There's a lot going on there, but it's very special people, really cool language.
So you are called to serve with these refugees. You have to learn a new language, Karen. That's so difficult. What was that time of your mission like for you?
It was insane. So I get switched over to the far west side of the mission in a city called Owensboro. And I had only been there a couple of weeks when COVID hit. So I was in quarantine, like full-blown quarantine for I think 4 months, stuck inside trying to learn this language. And when that happened, all of the missionaries in the MTC at the time, they just shipped them out because they just had, it was like a petri dish. They were like, hey, we're getting these missionaries out. Yeah. So I was training a companion, and she was called to the Sapporo, Japan mission and never made it there. So she and I were companions for an entire year. Wow. Big shout out to Amber Arima. I adore her. She's one of my best friends in the whole world. I love her. It was crazy. I felt like so many things were stacked against me. I was in this new area. I was trying to open this new work for this language and these people that no one had ever heard of. I was training this sister missionary who was called to Japan. I don't speak Japanese. I didn't know how I was going to help. COVID's hitting. You know, you live under a rock as a missionary. We have no idea what's going on. But all along, I just had this faith that it was going to work out. And it totally did. And it was amazing and beautiful to watch that happen. But in it, it was hard. And I feel like that chunk of my mission where I was in quarantine, I've just kind of disregarded it. I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
I don't think about it because it was genuinely really hard, but it was much needed for me to be able to get a handle on the language enough that I was able to really even do anything when we were able to go back outside and go talk to people. So even to this day, my listening skills really suffer in Karen because I wasn't able to listen to people speak. But I can talk around a lot of things because I sat there in my apartment for like 4 months just trying to figure out how to say things in this language and just going. I remember we would go out on a walk or would be out on our run, whatever. And in my head, I would be thinking and saying to myself the name of the church in Karen over and over and over and over. So I would know how to say it, and things just started falling into place, and it was tough, but it was awesome.
Wow. So do you feel like you're fluent now? Like, are you pretty fluent?
I mean, I can get by. It's slipped a ton too. I mean, there's not a ton of people, right? Yeah. And I could get by, and the gift of tongues is so real. So real. So I can have a basic conversation with just about anyone, but it's hard. It's been hard to keep it up, and
Wow.
It was hard to learn.
So you had a lot going on in your mission. When you look back, what would you say is one of your favorite memories from your time spent in Kentucky?
Oh, wow.
I know that's hard to sum up.
That is hard to sum up. There's so many beautiful experiences I had. I think that really I always go back to the people I met. I love them. I love those people. And I'm humbled by these refugees who have nothing and they just want to give you everything. And every time we would go to someone's house to visit, they always ask, that means, have you eaten already? Have you had rice already? That always feed us, that always give us things, that always help us. And I am so humbled. They taught me so much more than I could ever teach them. And I love them. So I'm thinking, as we're talking, I'm thinking about these specific people that I love and adore and I miss from my mission, who taught me so much. And they walk around with me all the time. The stuff that I learned from them, I'll carry with me forever.
Isn't it interesting how life takes twists and turns that you never knew or never expected, right? You're like, why did God call me to Kentucky? And then here you are working with these incredible refugees. How would you say missionary service has impacted your life since returning home?
I'm so grateful for my mission. It taught me how to work hard. It taught me how to have faith. I think the most important thing a mission teaches an individual, and for me specifically, it taught me how to walk with the Savior. And coming home after my missions are just faith. You're walking around trying to find people to talk to. And especially in my case, we were opening this new area with these people that the world doesn't really know about, that I loved so deeply. And I just had to trust that God would put us in the right place at the right time to find the right people. And it takes work. That is something about a mission that sometimes we don't talk about a ton. Missions are a ton of work. They're super hard, but they're the best thing ever. And coming home off of my mission, I feel like I learned how to hear and follow the Spirit. I feel like I learned how the Savior works in my life and the way that he truly walks with us or runs with us, in my case, a lot of the time. I learned my divinity. I learned that we are divine and that we are children of God. There are so many important lessons I learned on my mission that you come home and you have that mantle taken off of you and it's like, hold on a second. And I've really had to hold on to things from my mission and those important lessons that I've learned when things do get hard and you don't wear Jesus Christ's name on your heart anymore. And it's still there. It's just not a physical name tag. Right. So things get hard. It's crazy when people leave on a mission, they talk about how hard it is. It gets harder when you get home. I would say that the 1.5 years after my mission was harder than the 1.5 years on my mission. But the mission's kind of like the MTC for life. Yeah. You go to the MTC and that prepares you for the mission, and then your mission is the MTC for the rest of your life. So my mission taught me most importantly about Jesus Christ and the atonement and how that functions in my life, and how to work hard and how to have faith and how to know that God has a bigger plan for us and that things will work out even if it doesn't feel like it in that moment. Things will get better.
After your mission, you still were involved with the language. You took a class at BYU, right?
Yeah.
Do you pronounce it Karen?
Karen.
Karen. Yeah. And with one of your peers teaching it, is that right?
Yeah. It was Kachati. He and I served together.
Wow.
He is one of the most incredible people I know. I love him. He was born and raised in Thailand. He was born in a Thai refugee camp. And then he grew up. He moved here when he was 8, moved to Buffalo, New York. And his family's Buddhist. Even to this day, he converted all on his own, served a mission at BYU. He's married to one of my best friends and they're expecting a baby. He's amazing. But it was really cool to watch him share a huge piece of him at BYU with this small group. There are like 8 of us in the class, I think just 8. And which is awesome to have 8 of us who speak that language or at least did some work in that area on our missions. And he was able to share something really important to him with us. And it's also important to us. But yeah, that was really cool. That was the first ever class at BYU, maybe the last ever as well. Wow. We'll see. But it was, that was super fun.
You translated for the MTC's Embark language app. What was your involvement with that project like? How did you get involved in the first place?
Yeah, I had a friend working at the MTC and he asked me to help him with kind of the pilot program for online language coaching. So I was already working at the MTC, and then we kind of snuck Karen into the Embark app, and I was able to help with that just a little bit. And now it's really cool. It's really cool to have all of these resources going out to the missionaries that I didn't have, that I wished that I had when I was a missionary. So it's really awesome to help with that and see that rolling out and seeing things on Gospel Library coming out in Karen. So cool. Oh, gives me chills.
I did that. I did some of that.
Wow, this is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really, really cool thing.
You mentioned just the difficult transition from returning from a mission and getting back to normal life, but you on top of that had to start running again, which you don't do most people during their mission for 18 months or 24 months. How was it for you getting back into the rhythm of running when you got back?
Really good question. It took me, so I got home in March and I had hip surgery in May. And it took me around 17 months to run comfortably again.
Wow.
So it took a long time. It took almost a mission length to run again.
Well, that didn't help with the transition.
No, that was crazy. That coming home, I think that I was really excited to come home. I had a lot of fire in me to get back and run and to get back into sports and these things that I felt like was my whole identity. And coming home, you're trying to rediscover yourself after your mission. All of a sudden, I'm Lindsey again, not Sister Middleton. And so trying to figure out who I was. And then on top of that, I had hip surgery, so I had to learn to walk again, kind of thing. And all of a sudden, I wasn't able to run and I wasn't able to go and play all the sports that we talked about. I felt very stripped of a lot of who I thought I was. So coming home was a ton of self-discovery for me. But it was really important. It was really important for me to come back and say, okay, who is Lindsey when she can't run? Who am I? What does that mean? Who is Lindsey if she can't just go and pick up sand volleyball with her friends? Who is she if she can't go out on a walk with her family? Who is she? And it was super hard, but I think it's really core to me now. I understand who I am, even if I'm not running. And even if I'm not the sports girl, I'm a lot of other things too. And those are equally, if not more important.
That's an incredible discovery. I think is a difficult journey for every single person that ties themselves to some sort of label, right? And then that gets taken away.
Definitely.
And you have to figure out who you really are. Well, the BYU track and field team is obviously one of the best in the nation, and you get to be a part of it. And it's going to be an incredible year. What is it like just being a part of that team year in and year out?
Oh, they're so good. My favorite part, I think that you could ask any person on the track team, what's your favorite part of being on the track team? And they would say teammates. I adore my teammates. They are so awesome. I would not be here without them. And it's incredible. It's incredible. I just got back. I'm here after weights. I went to weights this morning and now I'm here chatting with you. And it's just really cool to be in a place with a lot of very fast athletes, really hard workers, and we all have the common goal of getting better, running faster and doing things well. But it's cool when you're in an individual sport like I'm in, but a lot of the time I'm doing it for my teammates. We do it for each other. You're there at that hard workout and you have 5 reps left and you don't know if you have anything left in you. And you look at these amazing people around you and you think, okay, I can do it for them. So cool. Such hard workers. I've learned so much from my teammates and coaches, and it's such a good environment. Such good people. I'm so grateful.
You mentioned that this is going to be your first season where you feel 100% healthy with your hip. What are some of your goals that you want to achieve coming into this season?
Yeah, I think that something that's interesting is I'm my new 100%. And that's been that's taken some self-discovery to realize that after a major surgery like that, or really anything, after a mission, after whatever it is that you go through, your 100% might look different. And so for me, I feel like I'm very close. I'm nearing my new 100%, not my old 100%. And that's really special. That's a really cool thing to realize and discover. And approaching that makes me feel really optimistic for how fast I can run. And one of my goals this season is to be on the BYU top 10 board. I think that would be really exciting. And I would also love to score at conference. We're in a new conference, everybody. We didn't have that last year. I think that going into this season, I'm just excited to see what I can do. I just love leaving it open to myself. And of course, there are numbers in my head and things that I want to do.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited to let them go. I feel like I have my legs back. Let's let them run. Let's see what they can do. I'm excited.
So cool. We're here with hurdler for the BYU track and field team, Lindsey Middleton. Lindsey, you are incredible. I can't wait to see you on TV a little bit more, but also to see what you do in this next track and field season. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much. It was fun being here with you.
You can download and listen to all episodes of Her Why on the BYU Radio app or wherever you find podcasts. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio.